This is the tutorial or video help for the application Equipment Service Management Pro 13. You're in the main calendar. The main calendar is a calendar where you can manage appointments, you can manage individual tasks, and I'll explain how that works. Let's talk a little bit about the calendar before we get started. The calendar has the ability to show a day, a week. In the week view, with the date for each individual day, you can click on the individual areas over here on this side on the numeric number. And what that will do is it'll shift the day that you're viewing, or whatever appointments are on that, so that you can see those appointments on the main calendar. You can also use the main calendar, small calendar down here in the bottom. And what happens, if you have appointments that are assigned, what it'll do is it'll put an underline on the date for that appointment where there is an appointment, if there's the presence of one there. The application itself also has a month calendar. Let's go ahead and open that. On the month calendar, what it does is it shows you the appointments that would be in there for the actual month, and it's day-by-day calendar. And again, like we did before, all you have to do is click on the day where you see an appointment that you want to edit, or you can actually click on the actual appointment that shows up here in the line on the appointment. You can also create a new appointment by clicking the plus in here where it says new. Let's go to the year. The year actually does a rolling scrolling year, so you can see the individual appointments on the year basis by month. The last one in here is you can see where it says March, April. You can see where it scrolls, February. You can see all the major appointments on the month calendar. The last one is the list. I'm not going to go there because what it does, it messes up my screen, but I'm going to go ahead and show you that we'll go back to the day, but the list will list all appointments that are available for that month, so you can see them on the calendar. Now, if you have questions and you need assistance on this calendar alone, this question mark that you see over here would be what you click on. It gives you a detailed online calendar help, and it adds all the things like how to use the user accounts, the multi-language, profile, preferences, and the login, relogin. That's where if you want to log out as one user and log back in as another, you can go ahead and click on the relogin. But you need to know one thing. You need to know who the users are, and the way you do that is to come over here to this screen. I'm going to pull this down so you don't have to see all the junk on my desktop. But on this, you can see all the different user accounts. Now, understand that these are user accounts, but they're also individual calendars. What that means is that there is an administrator calendar, which is for the supervisor administrator, which is me. There's another administrator, in this case it's called the manager, and that's administrator, and then the individual person that is assigned to the calendar is the manager for the entire calendar setup. These people have permission to go ahead and change and edit users. When you have a calendar, you have like in this case, on this particular application, there's a service calendar for scheduling services. There's a delivery calendar if you're taking things to and from, in this case, to a client where you're delivering something. There's a contacts calendar if you have to keep track of meetings and or anything like that with a client. There's a contact calendar. There's a pickup calendar in case you have to pick up things that you're going to be doing service on. And if there's something at a location where you have taken it and you want to move it to another location, there's a move equipment calendar. If you have to dispatch it, where your dispatcher needs to have his calendar where he looks at it, that's the one that you would put the dispatch in. And of course, the manager is at the top level. Actually, these are both, you could have two different people managing. One of the things you need to know about this is if you click on the end calendar, for example, here, it's going to bring up this little dialog. This dialog is the person's name in the calendar, so it's in as manager, as you can see there. They have an admin as far as his account, last name, and what that means is that this is the person's, you don't have a name like John Smith, in this case it's the manager of admin, and then his username is admin, and hidden in the password account is the actual password account. Now, as an administrator, they have the permissions to be able to set the passwords And if they want to change it, they can change it. The top level administrator has the full administrator password. You cannot change that particular one. And you can add a picture if you wanted to paste in a picture, or get one from the hard drive or iPad. You can paste in a picture of the person for that account. You can also have them sign this on the iPad. The signatures will allow you to actually write in their signature if you wanted to do that. It's not all that practical, but it was included in the calendar. I guess they thought it was necessary. The other one is if you have an employee or on a calendar that you want to disable, you don't have to take it out. Just click this active, and if you take out the check mark, it'll drop it off the calendar list. So say, for example, you didn't want to use dispatch. You can go ahead and uncheck it and it'll disappear. Now, if you want to add now by the way, you have to close to go out of here. If you wanted to add new calendars to your system, so you had the new calendars, what you would do is go ahead and click the new calendar up here at the top where this creates a new calendar. It'll bring up a new record here, and that same dialog we just looked at, and you can add the information for that. Just going to cover very quickly the multi-language. The multi-language allows you in your local area to change the individual, let's go back to the calendar, where it'll change the individual field names so that if you wanted to change, for example, assigned by, you can go in and change that. There's also under the preferences, I'm going to go ahead and bring this over here. Under the preferences, there are preference icons that are shown on the calendar when somebody actually assigns an appointment. And we're going to cover that in another video. But basically, these icons and the actual thing that shows up on the calendar as far as what kind of a task it is that you're doing on the calendar would be shown there. This, you can read about it in the help. This has the ability to send emails every time a new assignment is a task or an appointment is put on the calendar. It'll send it to the person for that particular person that's assigned to that calendar. Basically, you can even assign people to calendars and have their own calendar appointments for them. And then each time something changes on their calendar, it'll send an email. Now, I'm going to be very honest about it. It's going to drive somebody crazy if every time somebody changes something, they get another email for it. You could probably lock up their email with all the things that happen and send emails out to. There, you saw on the user account, if you put the email in the user account and put a check in the checkbox that's appropriate, it'll send emails every time something changes. These particular colors and stuff like this in the priorities, low, medium, and high, are actually going to be shown in the next video, but they are actually set as far as the appropriate appearance of how they look here. Once again, that's all covered under the question mark up here. And that question mark up there also shows you how to set up the graphics and the titles for your appointment icons in the actual system. Let's go back to the main calendar. These three icons up here, one, if you click the center one, the center one's going to be the actual date, like today. This will go back one day and forward one day. If you need to go back a month, you can go here for clicking on this for a previous month, and the next one for the next month, and then this was previous year and next year. So you can get some pretty good movability as far as going to see things. Always keep this checked. What this does, it shows the occupied days, which I talked about before, where it puts an underline underneath each individual calendar information thing. Now, the next video, what we're going to do, where you clicked on this video here, there's going to be another video on the next screen. And this is the one for setting up new appointments. So what we're going to do is, or tasks, you can click on this plus, and what it's going to do, it's going to add a new pop-up screen where you're going to add the next appointment that's going to be listed here. We're going to cover that in the second video, where you actually do this and then go into the individual appointment that you're setting up. So let's go ahead and close out this video, and you want to go to this button and click it the next time, and then you want to click the video on the next screen for video help.